This lesson deals with absolute value. Absolute value is the distance from that number to 0 on a number line. It's going to look a lot like this. So this states the absolute value of 7. It's going to look like two large bars around the number. And then the second one is absolute value of -7. Well, the absolute value is the distance from that number to 0. So if you look at this diagram, you'll see that the absolute value of -3 is 3 because it is 3 units from 0. Alright, so absolute value of -3 is 3. If I'm looking at the absolute value of 4, it is 4 units from 0, so the absolute value is 4. So notice that absolute value is always positive. The reason for this is because distance is always positive. Alright, so let's look at this one. Alright, this one says the absolute value of 3. So we're going to look at 3 and we're going to see how far away 3 is from 0, and it's 3 places, so the absolute value of 3 is 3. Alright, this one says the absolute value of -3. Well, -3 is on this side, and we're going to go back to how many spaces to 0, and it's 3. So the absolute value of -3 is 3. Absolute value of 2, 2 is 2 spaces from 0, so the absolute value of 2 is 2. Absolute value of 7 is how many places from 0? And it's 7, so the absolute value of 7 is 7. Alright, this one, don't let it trick you. Absolute value of 0. How far is 0 from 0 on the number line? Well, it's 0 units from 0. So, the absolute value of 0 is 0. Sometimes you may not have your number on the number line, but by this point, you should realize that absolute value of -23 is 23 because it is 23 units away from 0. So, to recap, absolute value is the distance. This is your notes in your packet. So it's the distance from that number to 0 on a number line. The absolute value of any given number is always positive. Okay? What two numbers would have the absolute value of 3? Well, we saw that in an early example. That would be 3 and -3. They both have the absolute value of 3. What two numbers would have the absolute value of 19? Be 19 and -19. So, remember that absolute value is the distance from that number to 0 on a number line, and it is always going to be positive.